Here is Bangladesh, a country in South Asia encircled by a long border with India and a smaller border with Myanmar. In the summer of 2024, there was a protest in Dhaka called the Quota Movement, which later escalated into a broader anti-government uprising. To understand these events better, we need to look back at some historical context. In 1947, after a long history of the British Raj ruling the Indian subcontinent, the partition of India occurred. During this period, the Indian subcontinent was divided into India and Pakistan based on religious majorities, with Pakistan consisting of West Pakistan, which is present-day Pakistan, and East Pakistan, which is present-day Bangladesh. At the time of the partition, Burma was also part of British India, but had become a separate British colony in 1937 and gained independence on January 4, 1948. When partition occurred, today's Bangladesh was known as East Pakistan. The region has a complex history marked by linguistic, cultural, and political struggles, eventually leading to its independence in 1971. To better understand these events, it's crucial to consider what was happening in China during this period. China was in the midst of a civil war between the Communist Party of China, PRC, and the Nationalist Party, ROC. This conflict resulted in the establishment of the People's Republic of China in 1949. And because of this civil war, China's engagement in the events in South Asia was minimal. In the 1950s and early 1960s, India and China had a promising start in their relations. India was the first non-communist nation in Asia to recognize the PRC. However, border disputes arose, notably in the northeast region near the McMahon Line and in the western sector involving the Aksai Chin Plateau. These disputes soured relations, leading to a brief but intense border conflict in 1962. The geopolitical competition between India and China, coupled with these border disputes, prompted China to forge a strong alliance with Pakistan. This alliance became particularly evident during the India-Pakistan War of 1965. Although China did not provide direct military support to Pakistan, it played a significant psychological role by accusing India of aggression and threatening reprisals. This support for Pakistan helped solidify their alliance against their common rival India. Now let's go back to Bangladesh, or what it used to be called East Pakistan. The road to Bangladesh's independence began on March 26, 1971, when Sheikh Mujibur Rahman declared independence from Pakistan, following years of political and economic discrimination against East Pakistan by the central government in West Pakistan. This declaration led to the brutal Operation Searchlight, where the Pakistani military launched a crackdown on Bengali nationalists, targeting students, intellectuals, and civilians. As the violence escalated, millions of Bengalis fled to neighboring India, creating a significant refugee crisis. In response, the Indian government, led by Prime Minister Indira Gandhi, decided to intervene. The Indian military began providing support and training to the Mukti Bahini, the Bengali guerrilla resistance movement. The situation culminated in the Indo-Pakistani War of 1971. On December 3rd, Pakistan launched preemptive airstrikes on Indian air bases in an operation codenamed Chengiz Khan, aiming to gain an early advantage. However, India responded with a full-scale military intervention in East Pakistan, leading to rapid advances by Indian forces and the Mukti Bahini. Key battles during this conflict included the Battle of Longawala, the Battle of Basantar, and the Battle of Sylhet. On December 16, 1971, Pakistani forces in East Pakistan, led by Lieutenant General Amir Abdullah Khan Niasi, officially surrendered to Indian forces in Dhaka. This day is celebrated as Victory Day in Bangladesh. The war significantly altered the geopolitical landscape of South Asia. India emerged as a regional power with a more secure eastern frontier, while Pakistan was left to rebuild and reconsider its military strategies. The conflict also highlighted the strategic interests of major global powers, with the U.S. supporting Pakistan due to Cold War alliances, while India garnered support from the Soviet Union. China's role in these events was influenced by its geopolitical calculations. During the Bangladesh Liberation War, China maintained its support for Pakistan, a close ally, despite the humanitarian crisis unfolding in East Pakistan. China opposed India's intervention and supported Pakistan diplomatically. After recently securing a seat on the UN Security Council with discreet backing from the US, the People's Republic of China vetoed Bangladesh's membership and refrained from recognizing the newly independent country. China's primary concern was to counter India's influence in the region and maintain its strategic partnership with Pakistan. The complexity of these events is further intensified by their concurrency with the Cold War between the United States and the Soviet Union. The geopolitical landscape of South Asia during the 1971 Bangladesh Liberation War was deeply influenced by the superpower rivalry. The Soviet Union supported India and provided assurances that if a confrontation with the United States or China developed, it would take countermeasures. This assurance was formalized in the Indo-Soviet Treaty of Friendship and Cooperation, signed in August 1971. This treaty gave India the confidence to support the Bangladeshi independence movement more decisively. Let's fast forward to the current situation. Many things have changed, but the rivalry between China and India has reached new heights. China has been pressuring India by expanding its influence in countries surrounding India through a strategy known as the String of Pearls. This strategy involves establishing a network of ports and military alliances across the Indian Ocean region to secure China's maritime routes and increase its strategic foothold. Key elements of this strategy include investments in Pakistan's Gwadar port, Sri Lanka's Hambantota port, and Bangladesh's Peira and Chittagong ports under the Belt and Road Initiative, or BRI. By creating these economic dependencies and strategic alliances, China effectively encircles India, limiting its influence in its own backyard. In response, India has developed counter-strategies like the Necklace of Diamonds to secure its own maritime presence and safeguard its interests. This strategy involves strengthening partnerships with neighboring countries like Japan, Vietnam, and Australia, as well as enhancing its naval presence in the Indian Ocean. Additionally, India has embraced the Indo-Pacific strategy in collaboration with the United States, Australia, and Japan through frameworks like the Quad Alliance. These efforts aim to balance China's growing influence by promoting regional security, economic development, and freedom of navigation across vital maritime routes. One of the biggest battlegrounds in this geopolitical contest between China and India is Bangladesh. As a rapidly developing nation strategically located in South Asia, Bangladesh has become a focal point of influence for both China and India. China's investments in infrastructure projects in Bangladesh, such as the Padma Bridge and the Peira Port, are part of its broader strategy to establish a foothold in the region. Meanwhile, India continues to maintain its historical and cultural ties with Bangladesh, aiming to counter China's growing presence and ensure its own security and regional influence. As Bangladesh transitions from a least developed country, it is focusing on developing port infrastructure with financial assistance from both China and India. This competition highlights Dhaka's strategic importance and the rivalry between Beijing and New Delhi for influence in the region. China's significant investments in Bangladesh's ports, such as Chittagong and Peira, aim to extend its maritime presence. Notably, the $510 million project at Peira Deep Seaport, led by China Harbor Engineering Company, highlights Beijing's strong commitment. Conversely, India has heavily invested in the Mongla Port, a critical access point to its northeastern states, and recently launched the Khulna-Mongla Port Rail Line project. Also, another aspect of the Sino-Indian rivalry in Bangladesh is the Teesta River project. China has shown significant interest in the $1 billion Teesta River Comprehensive Management and Restoration Project, while India has countered with its own funding offer. This competition underscores the broader geopolitical struggle, with China aiming to increase its presence near India's borders under the guise of economic development, while India remains concerned about security, particularly near the strategic Chicken Neck Corridor. As we move to the very recent developments in 2024, one notable event is the diplomatic engagements involving Bangladesh's former Prime Minister, Sheikh Hasina. In early 2024, she concluded visits to both China and India, trips that were closely monitored by diplomats from both nations. In China, Hasina sought a $5 billion loan to support Bangladesh's foreign currency reserves, but returned with only $137 million. Despite signing 21 MOUs, China's limited financial support reflected its concerns over Bangladesh's economic stability, especially given Dhaka's growing commitments to India. India, meanwhile, secured operational rights for a terminal at the Mongla port, signaling its strategic push against China's influence in the region. The Khulna-Mongla port rail line, inaugurated by Hasina and Indian Prime Minister Modi, further highlighted Bangladesh's closer ties with India. Additionally, Hasina's choice to favor India for the $1 billion Teesta River project over China marked a shift in Bangladesh's foreign policy, prioritizing India's security concerns amid regional rivalries. Following a series of geopolitical developments and decisions by former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, Bangladesh faced a sudden political shift. Shortly after realigning Bangladesh's foreign policy towards India, a significant domestic upheaval unfolded. In mid-2024, protests erupted over changes to the government job quota system, quickly expanding to broader grievances about economic mismanagement and authoritarianism. Government crackdowns intensified public outrage, leading to fatalities and calls for Hasina's resignation. There is increasing evidence suggesting that China, displeased with Hasina's shift towards India, may have played a role in instigating the unrest. Some suspect that China covertly backed factions within Bangladesh to destabilize the government, leveraging its influence to counterbalance India's growing influence in the region. Additionally, Pakistan's rumored support for the movement further complicates the situation, indicating possible coordination among regional powers. By August 2024, Hasina was forced to resign and fled the country, leaving behind a political crisis that some argue was influenced by external forces. In summary, the recent political upheaval in Bangladesh presents both opportunities and challenges for China and India. While China could expand its influence amid Bangladesh's economic struggles, political instability and the rise of Islamist movements may hinder its efforts. Additionally, the increasing U.S. support for the interim government could counterbalance China's ambitions. Ultimately, Bangladesh is likely to remain a battleground in the Second Cold War, making it difficult for the nation to balance these rivalries and maintain stability.